All right, let's talk about something that happens in pretty much every relationship. When someone is doing something great for you, something really positive, and then all of a sudden, it just fades away. Today, we're going to dig into why that happens and look at this really cool idea called the appreciation engine that can get those good vibes flowing again.
So seriously, has this ever happened to you? Your partner, maybe a friend, starts doing this wonderful little thing. I don't know, maybe they start making coffee every single morning, or they always take out the recycling without you having to say a word. And it's awesome. But then, a few weeks, maybe a few months go by, and it just stops. And you're kind of left there thinking, wait, what happened?
We're going to call this whole thing the vanishing effort. It's this super common, super frustrating mystery. And you know what? The reason it happens is almost never what we think it is. It really feels like a switch just gets flipped, doesn't it? One moment you're enjoying this nice, thoughtful gesture, and the next, poof, it's just gone. It's so easy to jump to conclusions, right? To think, oh, they got lazy, or I guess they just don't care anymore. But the truth is usually way more subtle than that. So here's the twist. The real culprit often isn't a change in their feelings, but a sneaky shift in ours. It's a little something called the expectation trap. And man, it can completely change the dynamic of a relationship. Let's break this down.
And here's the key thing. This shift is totally internal. It happens inside our own heads. What starts out as this amazing surprise, a gift, slowly, without us even noticing, it turns into just a part of the routine, an item on a checklist. And that, right there, that's where the problem really starts.
This quote just nails it. It gets right to the heart of the matter. The second a thoughtful action becomes something we expect, we stop seeing it as a choice and start seeing it as an obligation, a duty. It becomes something they should be doing, and our appreciation just dries up. I mean, think about it. Why would you thank someone for doing what they're just supposed to do?
Okay, so look at this. You've basically got two totally different ways of seeing the world. With a gift mindset, you see their action as a choice they're making, and that makes you feel gratitude. But with a duty mindset, it's just an expected task. And that feeling of gratitude, it gets replaced with a feeling of entitlement. And trust me, nothing kills voluntary effort faster than feeling like you're not appreciated.
So if entitlement is basically the brake pedal, what's the accelerator? What keeps the good things going? Well, let's talk about the powerful, positive force that drives all of this in the first place, the appreciation engine. The source material puts it this way, and it's such a simple but deep insight. Now, yeah, the quote specifically says men, but let's be real, this applies to everyone. We are all wired to repeat things when we feel seen and valued for doing them. Appreciation is literally the fuel that keeps this engine running. When you see it laid out like this, it's so clear, right? You've got two very different paths. There's the virtuous cycle. Someone does something thoughtful, you show genuine appreciation, and that positive reinforcement makes them want to do it again. It's this awesome, self-sustaining loop. But then there's the negative cycle. Someone does that same thoughtful thing, but it becomes an unacknowledged expectation. The appreciation vanishes, their motivation dries up, and the effort just stops. It's crazy how easily we can starve the very behaviors we love. So the big question is, how do we get out of that negative cycle? How do we restart the engine? The solution is actually pretty simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It all comes down to how we think about one tiny little word, should.
So here's the playbook. This is how you put it into practice. First, you have to actively remind yourself that these things are choices. Even if it's become a routine, they're still making an effort. So make a point to acknowledge the small, everyday stuff. The real work, though, happens in your mind. You have to catch yourself thinking, well, they should do that, and consciously flip it to, it's so great that they do that. And finally, and this is a big one, you have to say it out loud. A simple, hey, thanks so much for making the coffee this morning, can be all it takes to completely refuel that appreciation engine.
And that's pretty much the whole idea. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Just take a look around at your own life. At home, at work, with your friends. What are the positive things that are absolutely thriving because they're being fueled by appreciation? And maybe more importantly, what awesome things might have just stalled out because they fell into that expectation trap? It's a really powerful question to ask. Thanks for joining me.